Welcome to the Live It Right podcast, hosted by John and Caitlin Lindsay. We're going to be talking all things health and wellness, from food, fitness, relationships. So if you want to live your best life and live it right, join us for this conversation.
So whether you're a health enthusiast, a busy professional, or someone looking to achieve a more fulfilling life, you're in the right place. Tune in, subscribe, and join our community as we explore the path to living it right.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back to the Live It Right podcast. We're on episode 17, and today we are diving in a little bit more about our paths as entrepreneurs as we have made a transition from Savannah to Brevard. So if you've not listened to episode 16, we kind of dissect what's been happening the last few months. And now that we are officially in Brevard and officially both working from home, we kind of want to dig into what that looks like and how that transition's been. But I think we'll kind of start with John because I left my full-time job over 5 years ago. His was more recent. So I've been doing this a little bit longer, but with him now working from home as well, there's been some adjusting for me too. But I think we'll dive in. Tell us all about, shifting from, you had a non-traditional 9 to 5. It wasn't 9 to 5, but let's dive into it.
Yeah. So this is early lessons for working from home. And so, man, the days just kind of go by. So I think I've been a solo entrepreneur now for 5 weeks, something like that. Yeah, probably about 5 weeks. And starting to just now hit my stride, I think, from hitting my stride from feeling satisfied at the end of the day, like I accomplished things, because I've kind of gone through, Monday I'll feel uber productive and awesome, and then Tuesday I'll feel like I have a lull. And so I think I've kind of hit my stride on the recipe for accomplishing things, and not just accomplishing things, but feeling like I got stuff done, to where the fun stuff I'm able to do later feels like I earned it, which makes that stuff, getting outside, getting a good workout in, it makes that stuff so much more rewarding when you've done the work, computer work, that you needed to do in the morning. So, for me, when we first got to Brevard, I was still, for more than 10 years, I've worked out before work. And that was kind of like my time. And, the last 6 years I was working out and also like kind of doing my online business a little bit too. Everything from computer stuff to Instagram, things on my phone. Like I was getting other stuff done while working out. And since we got here, initially, maybe the first week, I was going to the gym. I'd wake up, I'd maybe do one or two things on the computer, and then I'd really want to get to the gym because I think that was just so built into my biology of, it's gym time. It's morning. It's gym time. I got to get that morning workout in.
And it was crunched time. He had a very, if we slept in 15 minutes, that altered his entire workout. Yeah.
Before, sorry. When I was working a full-time job, if I didn't work out in the morning, it would have to be later in the afternoon. And, that was my time. And I feel like when I had a full-time job, that was my peak attention span. And I wanted to use it on my business a little bit, but mostly myself through working out. But now that I've kind of got my feet underneath me a little bit as far as an entrepreneur, that morning time, the first thing we get up, I'll stretch for about 10 minutes while sipping espresso and some water. And then I get right on the computer, and because I'm just so mentally locked in then, and that's when I'm going to give my best work. And, it's been anywhere from, at a minimum, I'd say 2.5 hours. At a maximum, maybe pushing a little over 4 of just locked in computer time. And then I go do stuff. Typically it's go to the gym first, and then after the gym come back, do maybe eat a lunch or a meal, spend anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour of doing, I would say, less mentally demanding tasks while my food's digesting, and then I'll go do some sort of outdoor activity, and then come back from that, and again, do even less. We can maybe dive into kind of what the tasks we're doing are, but in the evening, late afternoon, evening, it's even less mentally demanding task. It's more like idea dump stuff that I'm going to get to the next morning. So I guess to back up real quick, the morning time, for me, I think I mentioned this a little bit in our last podcast. Since we're not in our new house yet, which we'll have an area for filming that I'm going to, do a lot of app content, social media content. Right now I'm doing a lot of back of house learning, I would call it. Stuff, I would say for the most part, centered around email marketing and just Instagram marketing and Instagram flow, or I should say social media flow in general. And so for me, that stuff is incredibly boring and not interesting. And my attention span on the computer is low. But in the morning, and I think a lot of people like this, morning people, my max mental capacity is going to be in the morning. And I've realized just in this short time of being a full-time entrepreneur, for me to get the most out of that day, I need to maximize that in the morning. I don't need to walk out the door, go on a walk, have some intricate morning routine or get to the gym. I need to utilize that time to crush work, at least right now.
Well, one thing I'll interject is, so I found this out maybe in the last 2 years, really, when he was still working his full-time job. He would leave about 4:45 in the morning, and I would literally start working on the computer, and I would just crush so much work before 9 a.m. And I think it's not just about the mental capacity, it's the lack of
Outside
interruptions.
Noise. Yeah.
Like the most productive time I have is before people are really up and getting their day started. There's just no distractions. Yes,
Yeah.
you can put your phone on do not disturb, but it's you really do feel like you're in your own little bubble.
You're still checking email and stuff, so it's
that's something.
It gets more distracting the more the day goes on, for sure.
But it's nice how over the last few weeks since we've gotten here, it's a natural understanding. We talk a little bit when we get up. We have espresso water, but it's all of a sudden it's both of us just lock in. We're in the same room.
Yeah.
But it's worked very well, I think.
Yeah.
I was actually curious at what that was going to look like, but we respect each other's privacy.
Because we're in probably less than 500 square foot Airbnb, and so we're both just hanging out in the living room, sitting on the couch, sitting on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You usually play some vibey coffee house music, but
instrumental jazz. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to this, but it's the time. If you lock in the morning, the time goes by so fast, and you are able to knock off tasks. And for me, I found that because I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm also probably going to go do some sort of outdoor activity, trail run. Bike ride. The other day I just went and chilled and swam in the river a little bit. But for those tasks to feel, for just to hit hard and just to feel cool and feel like I earned the ability to get there, I gotta get the business stuff done in the morning.
And I'm, for anyone else is very type A, very regimented, that kind of stuff. So when I would work out in the morning, the few and far between when I would have to work out first thing, I would find myself taking notes on my phone, because my mind is in work mode. I'm in creative work mode. So it's when I go on a bike ride, when I go on my run, when I'm doing my training, my mind is clear and I can actually focus on what I'm doing, and it makes that so much more enjoyable. Now, whether you choose to exercise or you do something else, it's just I've got that off my plate. I got my 3 to 4 hours of deep work done.
Yeah.
And then honestly, sometimes if we go off and that after lunch activity or whatever, when we come back from that, you're doing your brain dump for the day. I don't feel like I have to get solid deep work done. I feel okay, I got the good stuff out of the way. I've started doing the same thing. You kind of brain dump, make notes for what I want to execute and lock in on the next morning. And it just feels good because you're productive in the morning and you've prepped for the next day in the evening. And it just feels I feel used to feel like this from an accomplishment standpoint, but now it's just I feel so organized.
So what do you do in the morning? Because you're working on you're building out your website. Is that what you're doing? Well, you're planning for a wedding right now.
Yes.
Cooking for a wedding.
Yes.
But let's pretend you're not
pretending I'm
over.
not prepping
Yeah.
for a private event, because when I'm prepping for a private event, that is literally all I think about and
Yeah.
all I focus on. When I'm not, right now I'm working on building out my website, getting the blog up, which a lot of that is not just the back end, like building of it, like the technicalities
It's
of
like coding.
it's copy.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
I
the
don't even know what
copy,
that is.
the words you read.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
like setting up
I'm not far enough along in my journey yet.
the efficiency of the website. I want it to be easy to maneuver, easy to find things, easy to, when you
Okay.
get to the
Just
recipe
whole
section,
flow interface.
the
Yeah, everything.
categories, all of it. The whole interface of the website just takes so much
Gotcha.
detail-oriented work that, like, and the
That's
other
what you're
piece,
doing in the morning.
that's what I'm doing in the morning. Also, social media, planning out social media posts. But the brunt of my work right now is really, I really want that website to be ready to go when we get into the new house, so I can like then transition to
stuff,
filming
make
things.
Yeah.
So
Make the sexy photos, all
Yeah.
that, get all that stuff.
So
done.
that's what my morning looks like. And just as a side note, as women, I know we could go into detail about this, but sometimes I'm not feeling creative based on our cycle. There's like a lot of back end information on this, but like one thing I have learned is if I'm not feeling creative, if I'm not feeling like working on my website, I do find something that does motivate and drive me, because my creativity goes like this throughout the month, and I have to listen to myself, because otherwise you're just going to frustrate the heck out of yourself.
Yeah, it's tough to force creativity.
You
I think
can't.
you can. I've heard people say you can like train the muscle of creativity,
True.
which I guess that's you're. And the little bit I've been doing this, it is like just force yourself to get in front of the screen, start doing the thing, start understanding how to, like for me, build out email templates, stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
because with that creativity, like you can have a very creative idea, but it's
Execution.
how do I now do all this like not fun shit on the computer that's like required to
then-
make my idea come to life?
But then you're rewarding yourself with that workout if you get it done.
Yep.
So I guess in a nutshell, to answer your question, it's building up my website, social media, and really getting back into weekly drops of the Nourish Note, which is my newsletter that goes out on Friday morning. That is something I have vowed to be consistent with. Every Friday, you're getting valuable content in your inbox. So those are the three pillars of what I'm really working on right now. What about you? What have you been focusing this as a newbie to this? What has been your main focus?
My flow in the morning, which I've been liking, is I try to post on social media at 7 a.m., but I've made that post the day before, so kind of double check that that's all good to go. And then this is like, so we get up at 6, kind of start stirring, stretch by 6:30, typically sitting in front of the computer. 6:30 to 7, I get my Instagram and or other social media content ready for the next day, so it's already done and I don't have to think about it. And I'll double check the thing I'm going to post that day, get that posted, get ready for the next day by 7, and then typically I've been locking in on email marketing related things, and also, and through that I've been dipping my toe into Canva, making templates for future guides I'm going to utilize to
Opt-ins and freebies.
get people to opt in and provide really good free information. And then down the road, that allows me to, those people that have opted in, you should opt in if you're listening to this when you see one. But those people that have opted in, down the road, try to slightly upsell them a little bit on a really good quality app that I'm building out. So
Look at you, Mr. Organized.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Very loose, about as organized as I can get right now. But
You're doing
so
a good
I
job.
do that until I just get mentally exhausted, and I know myself well enough where I'm like, all right, if I just keep I've flexed that creative muscle a little bit. It's getting better each day, but I do get to a point where I'm like, okay, it's over. And at that point, typically, if it's a nice day and I can I can kind of get outside to do the outdoor activity whenever, I'll typically then go to the gym. Might be a strength session, might be a movement mobility session, hand balancing, come back, have lunch, meal, whatever, and then 30 to 45 minutes. And that time's nothing structured then, but typically I have something to do. Might be just continuing what I was doing that morning, play around with email marketing stuff a little bit more. Might be, if I film stuff at the gym, I might get that up on Instagram stories, try to make it look cool, provide some value.
When we move, though, you'll be doing a lot of editing.
Yes, definitely.
That will be
definitely.
a big, and a good thing that he is really good about is if he's reached that mental capacity point, he's already worked out and all that. He's really good about, I'm going to go sit outside and read a book.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something that's good.
I know myself that
Yeah.
so yeah, I sometimes will do that too. I guess that's been another alternative. If I feel like I'm super satisfied with what I did that morning and I get back for that kind of lunch break, we'll call it, I will go. We've had really nice weather the past 2 weeks, so I'll go just chill outside, read a book. I'm kind of fluctuating between educational and fun stuff. So as far as reading goes, and then go do some outdoor activity. Typically get inspired on that outdoor activity for whether it's content ideas or stuff down the road ideas. So then get home. I've been filming most of my, not most, but I'd say maybe 50% of my social media content in the evenings just because the lighting's nice here where we're staying. So, you'll help me out and we'll maybe take 15 to 20 minutes to film some content just to use throughout the next week.
So I have
that's
two questions for you. One, what has been the easiest transitional piece of going from working for someone else to working for yourself?
Easiest? I feel like I want to answer that by saying like what's been the most fun, and the most
what's
fun.
been the most fun?
Most fun has been just having the ability to go outside and play whenever you want to. Like we had dinner with some friends last night, and I said how I'll be out riding my bike at like 1:30, 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I feel like people are looking at me like I'm doing something illegal. And so
you should be at
that's
work.
taking a little getting used to, just because I'm like, it kind of feels like you're doing something illegal, but
we're putting in the work.
Yeah, that's certainly the most fun thing. But it is. But that goes back to what I was saying, where that feels so much more special and more fun if I feel like I really put a good dent in progressing my business that morning. So,
And what has been the most difficult thing? That was going to be my second question.
Probably
the freedom. It's twofold, I feel like, for you. Not to answer your own
well,
question.
the hardest thing for me is I'm not tech savvy. Like I type really slow. I've had a pretty straightforward job for the last 10 years. So, there's systems within that job that the stuff you do have to do on the computer it just becomes ingrained in you and it's second nature. And so, diving into this world of, MailChimp, Canva, using AI to help bolster your business. Like there's so many resources online that are great and wonderful, but, understanding how to using them and making it to the point where it's like, I don't have to think through, okay, where's the setting for, finding my brand font that I like making stuff just smoother. That's been frustrating, but, you show up every day and it gets better. So, change is always hard. And learning something new is always hard, but it's typically the first 5 minutes of starting that new task that sucks. But then, get through that couple hours in the morning and make some progress towards something, and you feel really good about it. So I would say the hardest thing has just been there is no guide map for being an entrepreneur. You kind of have to figure out things on your own. And, you don't know what people want. You have to make a really good educated guess, and learning those behind the scenes systems that go with that is a challenge, but it's, you show up every day and get better at it. So.
But let me ask you this too. Do you not feel 10 times better when you do figure that out for yourself and you're like, okay, next time it's going to take me no time to do this, and you've learned how to do it on your own without someone else doing it for you?
I do, but there's still things though where I'm like, I keep referencing MailChimp, but because that's what I've been utilizing for email marketing, but I'll feel like I figured something out, and then 2 days later I get back to that thing where it's like using tags on MailChimp, and I'm like, what was that again? And then I have to go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I already made this thing. But it's you got to keep exposing yourself to stuff because it's not. I do feel like I learn things every day, but sometimes I might forget 20% of that, and then the next time I go back to it, I'm like, I have to remind myself. But again, just keep exposing yourself to it, and it will get easier.
Yeah, and I think it's been really nice, especially for you, but I mean me as well in other ways, is that we are limited on the filming we can do right now because we are not in our home yet. That we are getting the ground, like the
You have to do this
grassroots,
stuff. There's only real. I mean, yeah.
and getting this stuff out of the way now to where like we routinely will know like a certain part of the week we're going to have to do this, but when we get over there, we will have established this piece of it so that we can now add the piece of getting creative in the kitchen, getting creative with your filming and building your app. So I'm excited to see that. But it's been, ironically, I will say, not that you asked, but I'm going to say it anyways, one of the biggest personal concerns I had when we moved was what this is going to look like with both of us under the same roof, day in and day out, running our own businesses, but also helping each other when we need that, mostly filming. It's organically gone very well. It does take a lot of communication, and I do think that that's going to have to amplify even more when we do get into the new house. But I think we've done a really good job, and I feel like it really organically has gone very well.
Yeah.
We realize, I mean, we don't work out together. We ride
together.
We ride together.
We'll probably run together too when you're done with your
but
Ironman
not
training.
every day.
Yeah.
We're not, so that is space and separation to where we, go our own ways, which is good too. So, but I think it's gone well.
Yeah, I'm happy with the trajectory.
Yeah.
So it's
we'll report back once we get into the new house at how this has changed, but this is where we're at now.
Yep.
So
feeling good about it, and it's sweet to work from home and scary sometimes too, but for the most part it's been great.
Yeah. Well, if you work from home, feel free to share in the comments or comment like what's worked, what hasn't worked for you.
Like tricks. So.
Yeah, we can start some conversations separately on that. We're always open to absorbing the knowledge of people who have come before us and done this longer, and that kind of stuff. So
definitely.
Be sure and like and share, and we will see you guys for episode 18
next week.
All right. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.